I have an eating disorder, and I also struggle with depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. This year I was discharged from hospital in March after a 5-month admission, thinking that I'd have the whole year ahead of me to work on myself, to go and travel. The week after I was discharged, we were struck with the pandemic. It's been really lonely, and just every day is a fight to get through the day.
The world must prepare for a potential coronavirus pandemic. That's the warning from the head of the World Health Organization. Over the past few hours, fresh cases have been confirmed in countries around the globe.
Fears about the coronavirus. The Duomo, the cathedral behind me, has been closed to tourists. No masses are taking place.
Authorities here are growing increasingly concerned about the rising number of cases. Until now, the picture in Japan has largely
Asian markets saw mixed fortunes on Tuesday, but heavyweight indices like Japan's Nikkei tumbled more than 3%.
I've been here for 3 to 4 days now. All I've heard is staff trying to reassure me that they're trying to get us ready for
from the coronavirus.
First day where I heard that
cases appear to spread around the world.
the reason is fair to say that
And the number of declarations
I have battled against mental illness my entire life. In 2013 I hit my lowest point and I very nearly lost my fight to anorexia and depression. In 2017 I relapsed and I ended up in hospital on suicide watch. And in 2020 the coronavirus hit us. For myself, much like many others, this has been one of the most trying years of our time.
The state of my mental health lately, I would say, is very up and down. I'm currently really struggling with the lack of support.
My partner has anxiety and depression and possibly bipolar. I've got various other friends that also have PTSD or eating disorders. I'm constantly conscious of that, and I do whatever I can to support people in that position. I mean, especially with my partner, it's a huge part of my life, you know?
I have suffered with OCD. Basically, your mind tells you to do certain things, and if you don't do those rituals, you have this immense feeling that something bad is going to happen. It doesn't allow you to live a completely free life because every single move you have to do has to be calculated.
I suffer with anxiety, depression and PTSD, both complex and acute. It's got easier as mental health has become more widely accepted within society.
In terms of the state of my own mental health lately, it's a bit of a mixed bag. My gran passed away earlier this year, back in March, about a week before lockdown actually, from COVID. Not being able to have close family close by me when she passed away, or friends, or even my partner actually. All of that was really tough, you know.
My family is in Italy, and my mom, for example, she lives on her own and she was in the red zone and she did catch the virus. So from being really distant and not being able to go there, that was not easy.
Care homes have been locked down, with the elderly being left without visitation from their loved ones for months on end. Whilst this is important for their safety and physical well-being, it's done nothing for their mental health. How do we show love for those who are trapped and alone in this time?
It's really important to show the love and support always to people with mental health conditions, but also to those of us who don't, as far as we know, have any mental health condition.
I am part of group coaching programs that really help me keeping a positive and a healthy mindset, where I am also able to share what I am going through if I am going through a difficult time.
Feelings of hopelessness, isolation, worthlessness, they have rocketed.
When you spend a lot of time by yourself or in your house, your mind goes like 10 to the dozen. I think at one point when I was going through therapy, my mind was running the equivalent of like 23 marathons a day. Physically, I looked fine, but mentally I was exhausted and I was drained, and you're made to feel like you need to be productive, but you can't be productive because you're in a pandemic and your mental health is really affecting you, and you're kind of fighting with yourself, and it's that point where you're having to like really challenge your mind and think like, right, okay, I'm just gonna have to sit with this and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And it can be hard, and I've spent days crying.
In this society, we are always pushed to always put the best version of ourselves out there. And whatever it is that is happening inside, we tend to cover it. We don't tend to externalize it, and we tend to push it down.
There's so many people also who are like me and my family who will be grieving the loss of a loved one or loved ones who can't have proper funerals for them.
My mental health stemmed from my fear of death at the age of 5 when I had my first panic attack about my mum dying. And so then how it has transpired to that is I get really scared that people I love are going to die. Something as simple as people not answering the phone to me. I either think they hate me or they're dead. Like within that quick like fire thing, that's the only logical reason and explanation to me as to why someone would not answer the phone. Like my mind massively catastrophizes and makes mountains out of molehills. I get scared. I get scared of the pandemic, I get scared of its consequences, I get scared of what's going to happen.
Showing love during this time is one of the most important things you can show for someone, because that person might just need that, hi, how are you, or I'm here. That could save their life.
We need to support each other through this time, because if we don't support each other, who's going to support us?
It costs nothing to be kind.
Check up on your friends, diagnosed mental health condition or not, I think it's never been more important. Being ready to talk, so that if you say how are you and they say something like not great, then we're prepared to have that conversation. Like I think as a society, at the best of times, we can say the phrase how are you just as a force of habit or just as sort of social obligation or as a courtesy rather than really meaning it as a genuine question of how are you alright?
For me, a lot of it is just needing to feel that I'm safe, that I'm loved and I'm gonna be okay.
I know of plenty of people that have put the best version out there, but they were really, really crushing and really, really suffering inside. So you really don't know what another person is going through.
Whilst it's important to keep your distance from people on the outside world, it's just as important to stay connected and share love across the world.
If I'm having a bad day, I'll talk to people, I'll be really open to people. I'll ring my mum or my partner and people I know that can help me. Because these things happen and no one knows what's happening and everything's so uncertain that you can't have just one way in which you're going to help yourself if you get affected. You have to have multiple different avenues. So whether that is cooking myself a really nice meal and belting my heart out to old school like noughties girl bands, or whether it's I just need to go outside for half an hour and just feel the sun on my skin and just have a cup of tea outside and not even think about anything, not have my phone on me and just sit.
There's one very important thing that keeps me inspired every day, which is my vision. It's the vision of what I want to build, where I want to go with my life, both privately and professionally. I do never ever forget about that. Every single morning I go through it and it's always with me, and it's a great inspiration to remind me what I want, who I am and where I'm going.
Watch parties of TV and film, either with my partner or with my friends. I've done quite a lot of those. Zoom catch-ups and pub quizzes. Just doing what you can to, to meet up and catch up with and include your friends. And also to make contact again with, long-lost friends that you might not have seen or spoken to for a while. Everyone is going through this very differently at the moment. And I know that actually for me, personally, there have been all sorts of friends who I haven't spoken to properly for months or even years, who I've gotten back in contact with this year.
Don't be afraid to reach out. We use social media as a way to inspire people and empower people, but sometimes the most empowering thing that you can do is be vulnerable.
No matter how hard the days are, no matter how dark and lost you feel, I'm still here, and you can be too.
Our mental health services in this country have been in dire straits for years, even before the pandemic.
We are all in this together. Mental illness does not discriminate, therefore neither should support.
Mental illness does not discriminate, therefore neither should support.
Mental illness does not discriminate, and therefore neither should support.
I'm gonna say that again. Mental illness does not discriminate, therefore neither should support.